Hello felting friends, welcome back to Tuesday's video. This is the Because I Felt Like It series, and today we're going to have a go at making this little fruit pie, and this very happy mouse is filled up with it. I started this off, it was a lovely little idea, just popped into my head, and for my research, as you can imagine, I absolutely had to go and buy some miniature fruit pies, and I did tell my husband and family it was purely research, and the fact that I had to bite them as well to get the, as you know, I've got to check them out. I like to be thorough, so I had to bite each pie just to make sure I liked the colour of the fillings, because it was a pack of a variety of pie fillings. So I wasn't eating the pies just because it was absolutely research, and for some reason when I was telling my family that I only bought them and ate them all, not all at once, I'll give you that, as research, they didn't seem to believe me. So I'm hoping that you will believe that I only did it for research. Anyway, let's move on with this picture. And this is what we're going to make today. And as I think you could, if you just wanted to, you could make the pie, or you can have a go at the mouse, or put some other little creature with it if you like. I tackled the mouse and I wasn't sure it was going to work, but by some miracle it did. And we're also going to try some different techniques. I've had some building work done on the house, so I had to move everything around, and I found a lot of the things I used to use to make animals, so I thought I'll use some of those and show you how they work as well. So that's what this week's video is going to be about, this little mouse and a pie and some experimenting. So anyway, we'll get on with this now, and I'll talk you through what I did. So I started off by cutting some felt, the 100% wool felt I have, into discs. I wasn't sure whether it was a good idea or not, but if I did it again, I would cut the bottom disc for sure, just because it's easier for stability and I could be sure that I'd got the right size. I'm not sure about whether I would cut the top one again, because a lot of this, I literally was just winging all of this, so I'll try and tell you as I go along what I would and wouldn't do again. This is obviously just pie colour. Now I've coloured both sides of this little disc. Again, probably didn't need to, because you're not going to see all of it once you've got the pie filling in, but I didn't know what I was going to do with the pie, so I covered the whole thing. But if you know in advance how you're going to finish your pie, then you probably don't need to do both sides, but I would take some of it over the edges. So then what I've done is I've just grabbed any core wool or any carded wool that you've got plenty of, and I'm just going to make the shape for the pie filling. And I did felt this quite well, so this is ends up quite dense. And obviously my pies, from research, as I've just mentioned, they slope outwards. So you start off with a narrow bottom and they get wider at the top. So this is what I've basically done with that. And then I've mixed different coloured reds and things, as you can see, and I'm using it for the pie filling, and I'm just covering obviously over it. Now again, if you know exactly what you're going to do with your pie, you don't need to do this all over the little pie filling bit that you've made. But I wasn't sure whether I was going to have a lattice top or what. And as you can see, I did it so it was bitten into, so it helps me in the end to do this. So this is obviously the same colour as the bottom, and I made sure as I went round, to start with I just put it round the edge, and I didn't think it looked quite right, so I ended up making sure that the pie side went down and underneath the bottom pie, so it all joined together, which was a lot better. So it did come out quite firm, and then it was easy. You could do this top disc and just do it just keep felting wool into a circle until it's dense enough. So you don't need to do this, the wool part of the disc, if you don't want to. But again, I covered this all over on both sides. And then what I've done is I'm felting it. I've tried to centre it over the top of the filling, and I'm just felting it all over. This is really quite a quick make, this little pie, and they would be great for presents. Again, I thought afterwards I could use it. I could have used this as a pin cushion, because obviously you can stick things in it. It's not that big, but I've actually just got it as a little ornament, and I think it's really cute. So here now, because I can cut into it anywhere, I've just cut in to make it look like the mouse has eaten it. But having that green felt, as you can see, I then had to take the pie filling and cover that all back over. I did think as well that you could make the pie filling out of something like Fimo, not the whole pie filling, but I mean like an area that just fits on there, that you could just glue onto that bit. So you could have even a more realistic pie filling, and you could make it shiny if you wanted to. So I would still obviously have the wool felted in the middle, and then just put a piece over that once you've baked it that looks like pie filling. And then again, I'm just bunging in some more of the pie filling. What I tried to do for this bit is have different bits of colour. So in my pile, as you saw earlier, I had some light bits of kind of reddy pink and some dark bits, and I've tried to make sure I pick out the lights and the darks so that there's a little bit of variety when you look at it. Now, from my research, you have a lighter bit of pie lining, and then you get to the cooked crust on top. So this is some creamy colour that I'm just putting around, as you can see, going around the inside. So it's that little bit lighter, where it's not been baked in the same way, hasn't got the colouring on it. So all around this little filling was a little bit of lighter beige. I wouldn't use white, but it's a light creamy colour. But I say I did wonder whether to do a lattice top, but then I thought this would be a little bit more dramatic because you'd see the bite better. And all I've done here is just carry some of it over the edge, so it's looks like it's spilling a bit. I think if you were doing this and going to put it on maybe like a small plate as a permanent display, you could make some more of the bits and stick them on the plate, so it looks like it's oozed out onto the plate, and maybe a few crumbs. So here now I'm just going around the outside edge and making it look like that pie crust. It's funny, I don't remember whether mine had that little edge. I might have to buy some more and check it out. I'm just cutting off the fuzzy bits. So I mixed those two colours together, which was the pie colour I had and some black. And I'm now making the body of the mouse. So this ended up more like an egg shape. Now, the reason I've got the dark colours first is because I'm going to have a go at reverse needling at the end to make some fur for the mouse. And I wanted a colour on the inside that if I pulled it through, it would match what I had on the outside. I don't know that it made a lot of difference, to be honest with you, but that's why I did it. So if you're going to use a reverse needle, which I'll show you obviously at the end of this, then make sure that the colour you have on the inside is what you want to show on the outside. So obviously if I'd used red or something and I pulled that through, unless that's what you're going for, it would have looked very odd. And I did study a picture of a mouse, and they have this like little black guard heads all over their fur. I'll see if I can put a picture in and show you. So anyway, I just keep building this up till I get a nice firm body out of it. So if you just go roughly egg shape, but I don't think it doesn't matter immensely because he's a fat mouse, because he's eaten all my pie, and we're also going to have a little bit of fur on him. So you can see what I mean. It's kind of egg shape, and just keep holding it up against the pie that you've made to make sure it's the size you want. With the mouse picture, he's got a little bit of white on his belly, so that's all I'm adding here. It's just this is again not actually white, this is cream, but you could use white. Now these are going to be his little like hips, but they were far too big for what I need. I really didn't I suppose I didn't think it through well enough, because I was thinking I need his hip and I needed the back of his hip to make little butt cheeks. So from that point of view, this works absolutely fine. But it was too thick to come down onto his leg. But you'll see what I do. I mean, I get out the scissors, so it's a bit like chocolate. Scissors cure everything. So what I did was I just treated it as if I was making a sculpture, and I kept bending and moulding that little bit of fur disc that I put on until I had the back leg. So this is what I'm doing here. As you can see, it's very, very thick. But look, you won't really see it anyway because he's going to be sitting on his little butt cheeks. So it doesn't matter too much. I just keep stabbing at it until I have a hip shape, and then it bends down into the past his knee, I suppose it would be, going forward. So out come the scissors because it was far too thick. But to be honest, once he's sat down, you don't really notice. And I think if I was going to make him again, I would possibly have a little bit of wire in his legs, just so that I had something to wrap the wool around rather than make it quite so thick. So now here I'm making his head, so I've got the same wool for the inside, and then I'm going to do the same thing, cover it in that rabbit colour, and I'm just moulding a mouse head shape. So I just keep stabbing at it until, again, to me this was more, again, a bit like a smaller egg, as you can see there. And then under his chin he has a bit of white as well, so I'm taking that down. But I have measured the head against the body to make sure that they look right. And now I started with the red pin, and I didn't want him with red eyes staring at me, so I changed the colour, and I'm just using the pins to work out where I want his little eyes to go. And then this bit here is the little cheek things I was saying. I just wanted his little cheeks to puff out a little bit. Well, it's not his cheeks, sorry, it's, I don't know whether you call it his cheeks or not. It's a little bit of the front where his nose is formed and things. So he has one of those on either side. There, you can see that. And then I'm actually going to squash all that down in a bit. You'll see me keep felting that thinner. But I need to felt the little body and head quite firmly, especially because I'm going to use a reverse needle, which will pull the wool back out from the body and the head. So I need to make sure it's almost like extra firm, because it will soften up again when you pull the wool back out. So now this is just a black circle. They have quite big eyes, I noticed, so that's what I've done, and they're more on the side of the head, because obviously they're a prey animal, so they have a better view all around. And this is me just trying to make sure that I get the eye in the same place on the other side. I just keep working on the little face and trying to get it a little narrower there. And I do have a mouse reference picture that I'm working from, so I keep checking that to see what's needed. Now this is just a tiny bit of pink for his nose. Originally, I was going to do more of a cartoon mouse, kind of a chunky grey cartoon mouse, but I couldn't help myself, and I ended up trying to go for something. I'm not going for him to look like a perfectly real mouse. I just wanted to go for something a little less cartoony. But you could certainly, if you've got any pictures of cartoon mice, you could definitely do that. You don't have to go quite so mad as me and try and make a realistic-y sort of looking mouse. I'm just building his little chin up under here a little bit because it kind of got lost. Or like I said earlier, you could even just do the pies because they're quite fun. You could do a plate of those. Or mince pies for Christmas, that could be good. And then I've just taken a little bit more of that rabbit wool and I've rolled it so it's a little firmer, and I'm just going around the eye because I wanted to enclose the eye in an eyelid. So this is what this bit is. You can see I'm just rolling it and taking it round. I don't know actually what I would do with him when he's, you know, on a permanent basis, but he's actually sitting on the sound bar under our telly at the moment, staring at everyone. I'm making everybody look at him because he's so cute. So here we just have a couple of white dots for his eyes. I'm glad everybody enjoyed the last one about the aquarium. That was nice to make, and I appreciate your comments. Thank you very much for those. If you're enjoying this one, please don't forget to give me a like as well. Oh, I tried to make him smile, but I think it worked. So I just curved the ends up. Obviously, they wouldn't do that in real life, but I wanted him to look happy as he's eating all my pie. There you go. Just keep checking. Yeah. So if you have any other, more suggestions for other ideas to make things, please don't forget to leave them in the comment section below, because I'm still looking for. I did some research over the weekend and found some more ideas for things. I've got about 15 different ideas now, but obviously there's 52 weeks in a year, so if you have any ideas, let me know. Right, so I think I didn't do as good on these little legs and hands as I should have done. I think because I've had building work in the house, so I only have little limited time that I can get to my felting area and do anything. So I think, to be honest with you, I could have made a better job of his little arms, and it's definitely his little hands. But again, I think I needed wire in them. So the pins in his head are obviously just to hold his head in the angle I wanted so that I can go around and attach it all. And then I use some extra wool just to wrap around his neck, and so I can join the neck to the body on here. But yeah, anyway, I've got some little pink paws there, and they're totally, for me, they're fine, But if I was going to sell these, which I may make some more and do that when I open my shop, I definitely would put more effort into making the little paws look like paws, because I just felted some pink blobs on this occasion. But they're fine. If it's just for you and you're not, trying to sell these or anything, then it's totally fine, and they're really cute. And as you can see in the picture, they look fine. But I think if I were going to do anything more with them, I would spend some time and practice and make some better paws. But I was really learning and experimenting on this one, and I did try something else you'll see in a minute, and it worked out all right. Wouldn't do it again, but I'll tell you about that one in a minute. So basically I'm just putting on his little feet here. And the biggest thing was I wanted to make sure he looked like he was actually sitting. And again, once he's attached to the pie, a lot of his sort of inner part and his bottom and his legs you don't really see. As you can see, most of it's tucked out of the way. And then I needed to make a little arm here that looked like he was hugging the pie. But I needed to put a little bend for an elbow in, because I didn't want to go straight across. So it comes down a bit from his shoulder and then bends a touch and then goes onto the pie. I don't know if you could see that there. And again, I'm going to go over that and with some of the wool from the top colour that I've used, and just blend that in a bit. This is his other little arm that I was trying to work out where to put. But he was starting to look cute even then, so. So we came onto his tail. I wasn't impressed with his tail. I tried rolling pink wool just as it was, and that didn't work. And then I put some pink wool around a thin pipe cleaner, but I think it made it too thick. And so what I ended up doing was, and then I realised that, because I used to keep rats and mice years ago when I was a kiddie, and I realised that rats have the like pink tails, and if my recollection serves me right, mice have a little bit of fur on the tail. So I had to go back round afterwards and add a bit of fur. Now this is an experiment, and this is a matte Mod Podge, and I wrapped it around his tail and I did his little pink feet with it, because I thought that I might be able to get them to look a little firmer and a little more mouse-like. I can't say it worked. I wouldn't do it again. It did smooth them a bit, and they're a bit stiffer now, but it didn't work for me, not really. I would use wax or something. So here I'm making his ears, and all I've done is I've got some darker brown, the brown that I've used for his body, and then I add a bit of pink on top of it. This is just the pink from his nose. And then I take it onto this thing I have, and I stab it, as you can see. I used that because they were so thin I didn't want them to felt to the mat, and the ordinary mat, and if I pulled them up they would pull apart again. So what I did then, I've rushed through this somehow, but what I did after I'd got the shape I liked, I went and ran a hot dry iron over them to smooth them down and make them flatter. So that's why they look different now. I just took a moment or two just to hold a hot iron over them and flatten them down a bit, because I didn't want fuzzy ears. And then this is just about putting the ears in the right place on the body. I'll see if I can find a reference picture for you for the mouse face as well, and I'll put this in here so that you can see roughly how the ears fit to the body. And then you need to felt those down really well, and you should need to try and make sure they curve in a little bit as well. Mine kept wanting to go flat on his head, but as you can see I keep pushing the edges so that they curve in a bit. Now see here, this is a green needle, this is a reverse needle, and as you push it in and pull it out, it pulls the wool back. It's gone really fast, sorry, I don't know why it's gone quite so fast. It pulls the wool back out and it can give you a fur effect. Can you see it's going fluffy now? Which is why I had to make sure I needle felted it really well first. So you get this kind of fluffy effect all over it. And then I will brush it. You can use a toothbrush, a comb, anything you've got, and I brush it down into place, and then I just trim it with a pair of scissors so it's not quite so wild and wicked. You're not trying to cut it off, you're just literally cutting off the extra fluffy, so you still end up with a furry look to him. So I thought I'd show you all sorts of weird techniques for this make that we're doing today. But you can see I think he looks quite nice with his fur. Plus it helps to hide if you haven't done his hips quite right or anything like that. You can't really see it now under the fur. He does look a bit like a gerbil now. And then I did make sure I went up between his ears and onto his forehead and pulled some of that out as well. Now here, if you have brown makeup, brown art pastels, anything like that, you can do this. And I thought I'd show you this as well. You can use these to just add a hint of colour. I could just as easily have needle felted browns into this, but I wanted a really delicate kind of baked look to it. So you can choose to felt it if you want to, or if you happen to have some brown eye makeup, you just be thin with it. You can brush that round. I only brushed it round the top bit, just in odd places to make it look a little bit more cooked. And as this is my, because I felt like it, Tuesdays, you know, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to try all different things, show you different stuff, and see how it works out. So now I have what looks like hopefully a cooked pie, and we're going to attach the little mouse to him now. So what I did was I've gone inside his ears and things so that you don't notice where I can, and I've gone like as far under his body and things like that to attach him so that I'm not going through his main fluffy fur now. So I say things I would probably change if I were going to, not for me because I'm very happy with him as he is, but if I were going to make it to sell, I think I would change how I did the pie filling, potentially maybe put some Fimo in there and paint and varnish it so it's shiny. I would concentrate more on his little paws and make him actually look like he's got little feet and legs. But otherwise, I'll maybe make him fatter because, you know, he's eating all my pie. But otherwise, I was really quite pleased with him, and he's not going to end up in a box put away. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this one. Thank you very much for being here and coming along with me. Any comments, please leave them below. I would be pleased to hear them. And I look forward to seeing you on Friday. Bye for now.